we talked and you put it in the context that you did, that was really the jelly. That's what
Okay.
made it, because it's like, okay, so what? You know, these are my top five, these are my lowest five. How you were what put it together for me,
Okay.
right?
All
With
right.
your discussion and what we talked about, that's how I understood, going through each one. The descriptions were great, but it was when your examples of, okay, yes, consistency is on the bottom, but you also are, whatever projector or whatever my top ones are,
Mm-hmm.
and how you use those to offset each other. So it
Okay.
wasn't until you put the how-tos in there that it really made a difference for me.
Awesome. So
Um,
you're hanging on to the label of the strength instead of the meaning of the strength for it,
mhm,
because technically the way that I've been taught is the bottom strengths are not ones that we're supposed to try to make better. Those are ones that we're supposed to like, this does not serve me well, so I'm not going to try to be like this. I'm going to do things where it does serve me well. So when you keep telling yourself, I'm not consistent, I should be consistent, I'm not consistent, that's you keeping yourself down there instead of letting yourself be successful and thrive in the ways that honor who you are most, which is from your top tens. Because the definition and the way consistency means, and I know I looked this up when you guys mentioned it not too long ago, but I have to refer again, um, depending on what other strengths are by it. That is more not necessarily about doing things consistently and keeping up and following through. It's
mhm,
more about just believing that there's a system for everything and everything needs to fall in the system and people all need to be the same and we should treat everything, and you feel most comfortable when it's everything is systematically the same, and that's so not you.
mhm.
That is
Right,
not
right.
you. And so that's
No.
where you shouldn't try to fall into consistency, because that's not going to be, that's not going to serve you well, and you're not going to be authentic when you're trying to have everything too systematic and too the same. You
Mhm.
need to be more up in your top strengths of how you're going to be consistent and be successful and follow through. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, yeah.
First things that I realized after I understood my strengths is, with anything personal development, anything business coaching, any of that kind of stuff, I have to pluck out what resonates for me and leave the rest for somebody else. Because if
Mhm,
somebody tells me to time block and schedule and set certain goals, it's going to fall flat for me. I'm going
mhm.
to either try to do it and not feel good about what it is and why it is I'm doing
Right,
things, or I'm
right.
not going to, or I'm going to try to do it and fail, and then I'm going to feel even more like a failure.
Mhm.
So that's the one thing. When we listen to all those people, I highly encourage it. I think everybody has, some nuggets of great advice, but when you
Mhm,
listen, you have to realize, oh, okay, that part, that's for somebody else, that's not for me, because that's not going
mhm.
to do me well.
Right.
But this part, oh yeah, that part, that's what I have to hang on to,
Sure, sure. Yeah.
and that's where, because like positivity, activator, woo, individualization, and empathy, like for you, all of your stuff just needs to come from your heart, and then you get into strategic, and then you have the big ideas and you're futuristic, and you want significance, so you want to be known for something that you're contributing. That right
Mhm,
there is going to light the fire for you to follow up and be consistent and do the things you're supposed to do to get successful, because you want that significance. Let that drive you. And communication, you want to be able to talk and have people listen to you. Well, people aren't going to listen
mhm.
to you if you're inconsistent and if you don't show up for them
Right,
all the time.
right.
And you obviously come into everything positive, and not positive like rose colored glasses, everything is great in
Yeah,
the world, but just come at it from that lane rather than come at it from the negative, the negative
yeah,
lane.
right.
And individualization, it basically, what it boils down to me is, when you serve from your heart, that, and you're serving out of caring, that's
Mhm.
what's going to propel you up to where you want to be, not
Mhm.
X Instagram post, X this, and just checking the
Right.
boxes for the sake of
Right.
checking the boxes.
Right.
That doesn't resonate with you, and then it's not going to come across even authentic to the people that it's going out to. If you pour
Well, and
yourself,
also I won't do it.
right,
I just won't do it. Right.
right, exactly, and then you shut down, and then you sit and you think, why can't I be successful? Why am I not doing things well? I'm smart, I've got all this to offer. Why is this not
Mhm.
happening? Because you're not just serving from caring and serving from your heart
So
and everything. That's what I refer to it as. This is your personalized roadmap. Like,
Mhm.
everybody's going to travel through the journey of life,
Mhm.
as cliche as that is, but everybody does. But everybody does it differently. You can go up, down, in and out, zigzag, straight line, fast, slow, whatever. This is
Right.
how you are travel to get where you want to go,
Right.
and get the most out of it.
And I think you just did it so succinctly and described something for me that was it was really thank you, that was really good. Move forward with something, and that's why what you're doing is so like excellent and so helpful for people. And the part that really will help people is, okay, you don't ask them, so what how do you think you can proceed this week with what you're
I
right?
ain't got time
You
for
just
that.
right, and neither do they, right? And so this, I just, I don't agree with, I did it, I took the test, I passed. I don't agree with it at all, right? I like I
Okay,
like your
that
style.
right there,
Boom.
Candace, that right there describes
Yeah.
why consistency is 34 for you, because that's a system you're supposed to follow and everybody's supposed to be the same. You're like, screw that. That is not what I'm going to do. That's what
No,
consistency being your bottom strength means, not that you don't know
exactly.
how to do things. And
Right.
so that's where individualization comes in. And that's where, because you're driven out of empathy, you're like, why would I do that to somebody? They're not going to benefit from that.
No,
That's
and
where
they're
you're
gonna walk
feeling.
away and
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
right.
Love that.
But that's what people want. People want somebody to tell them what to do. That's what people want. I mean, how many times, if you had a magic phone and you could call somebody and say, hey, here's where I am, what should I do next? And somebody came on the line and said, this is what you should do, Shelley. You'd be like, awesome, right? That's what people want,
Right.
right? And
Especially
that's
when it
all that,
lines up with them, especially when it
yeah,
lines up with who they are. And then when what you're being told totally makes sense to you, you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the gift that you're giving them. It was reaffirming because those were all things that I acknowledge in myself on any given day, just as who I am. And so it was like, yeah, that's right. I am empathetic. I am, positivity. I am all those things. And so that part of it was very reaffirming. Um,
Did
and
some of them surprise you that you knew that about yourself, but you would never have thought of it as being one of your gifts?
the definitions, I didn't really think of those things as strengths.
Mhm.
I thought those as part of my personality.
Right.
I wouldn't, until we defined all of them, I wouldn't have, I said, well, yeah, that's who I am, right? I wouldn't have thought of that. So it was nice to hear it reconfirmed as a strength rather than just part of my personality.
Right. And to me, everything in life is a relationship. Everything, whether it's your relationship with food, as you well know, your
Mhm.
relationship with driving when you're on the road with other drivers, at the grocery store, even my relationship with work, with my time, that how I spend it during the day. It's all
Mhm.
relationship. And all those relationships are based on the one that you have with yourself. So I view it as I help strengthen relationships.
Mhm.
And that doesn't only mean like parent child or spousal or whatever relationship, just your
Right.
relationship with life, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I help you strengthen who you are so that those relationships can be honored with more respect, less frustration, and, more connection, um, and ultimately make you feel empowered in life rather than feeling like life is running you, you're running
Mhm,
your life,
mhm.
instead. So basically, you're living life on your own terms.
Want to do is,
Yeah,
like you say, everybody's stuck in this rut, but they don't really want to be stuck in that rut.
right,
You know? And so then she says, well, I know you don't want to be stuck in that rut, but most of the time people do these extreme, they quit their job, they leave their husband, whatever
right,
it is, because that's what they think they have to do. So what what are your strengths and how can you work in this situation, feel better about yourself moving forward while staying where you are?
right.
That's your right.
These guys, and they're about to get married. They feel like they're at their best of their relationship, and everything is like so amazing and wonderful. But when I took them through this, they're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so helpful for us, because
Yeah.
I can so see that now, and now I can understand that about him instead of thinking he should whatever. And they're like, wow, this just like so helped us. So that's one of my passions too, is going through people's, whether their coworkers or their lovers or their parent child, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
here's how you can understand how each of you is going to approach the same things in life just a little bit differently. And that's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah. Right. How cool is that?